So Friday's here. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. Don't forget that we are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We're also live on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. You can catch us this afternoon on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, parts of Accra flooded following today's downpour, which started in the early parts of the day. We'll bring you more details as the National Disaster Management Organization is carrying out an assessment on the impact of today's flooding. Also, rebuilding process of the Apieti community in the Presiahuni Valley municipality takes shape following the deadly blast which ravaged the entire community and displacing scores of residents.
Of cement bags that we have received from other organizations and all is overwhelming, but then we are making sure that we are putting them in good use. You've seen from the side that we are molding blocks because we don't want them to go back.
And a little later on the Pulse, we talk about the use of aphrodisiacs, which is posing significant health challenges to the youth across the country. This afternoon on the Pulse, we speak to health experts on this development.
Those aphrodisiacs that you take, you don't know what. Yes, you want to perform, but usually if you eat well, you exercise well, you should be able to perform, wonderfully. Exactly. Yes. So please avoid the aphrodisiac. Try and stay away from them.
You shouldn't kill them.
Well, there's more on that conversation for you here on The Pulse. My name is Blessed Sogah. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignity, Low Affordable Safe Sanitation. This afternoon on The Pulse, we're streaming live on YouTube, and all of our social media handles is at JoyNews on TV. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sogah. Always a pleasure serving you here on The Pulse. Well, so this afternoon, parts of Accra have been flooded following today's downpour, which started in the early parts of the day. Now, the rains, which lasted for about an hour, actually flooded portions of the central business district here in the national capital, including Odona, which has the capital's biggest drainage system. The Ghana Meteo Agency days ago cautioned the public to be on the lookout for weather updates as the rain setting.
When it happens like this, we normally experience the strong winds. We normally experience thunder and lightning, and we all know what comes with strong winds. Either we have the dead branches that normally falls off from trees, or if you have a weak structure, this is the time that we'll be hearing collapse here and there. So this is the time that we need to attend to all these things. If you know your structure is old, I normally put it 30 to 40 years old, it is time that you should call an expert to check it for you, especially the roof and then the wood. And then if you have a tree by your house or wherever, this is the time to go through and see whether there are some branches that are dead, so you can just prune them off. And then when it's raining and you are using the road, the motorist, this is the time we should reduce our speed to between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. I'm not an expert when it comes to
but you're predicting that visibility may drop significantly.
Yes, in a rain, visibility also drops, especially when it's moderate to severe. We have visibility at times less than 100 meters. So when it happens like that, just reduce your speed. Then the road too is a bit slippery or slick. There is water on the surface with the tire being a rubber too, can also affect. So if you're driving at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour and the road is free for you, that you should know that you are going to drive higher in terms of the 80 kilometers you are thinking that you are doing, because there is no friction there. So this is the time that we should. When I was coming around GBC, a car just bumped into the other. So those who normally drive closer to themselves on the road, this is the time that you should give that gap.
Well, so there's a need for us to assess the situation out there. In fact, the National Disaster Management Organization has been on the ground deploying its men to assess today's incident. Joining us now is George AC, who's in charge of the communications unit at the National Disaster Management Organization. George, it's such a good time to be hearing from you. So what details and official reports are you getting from your men who are out there assessing today's flooding?
Yeah, we thank you very much. We've gotten information of some flash flooding in areas around town, but we're yet to get a report that there's been any havoc or something. What floods we are observing are mostly flash floods.
And what's the level of, the areas that this flooding has reached in terms of the particular places? So those who are watching us now could be cautious as they move into these areas.
The levels?
Yes, particularly in some of the affected areas, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm here to get the actual areas, but our men on the ground have told me mostly flash flood. I told them I was coming to be with you, so I need to get the exact locations yet. I don't have those locations yet, so I cannot give you the exact points unless I get back to them to give me the exact points.
Okay, for some, this is just a prelude to the challenge that has always bedeviled the national capital, Accra, the issue of perennial flooding. What measures is NATMO rolling out to contain the situation and possibly avert any further damages in the coming days?
Yeah, I told you earlier we are checking in collaboration with the assemblies, the desilting and others. And so, yes, once we get some of the places desilted, we know the volumes of water that come definitely will still experience flooding. And we are getting our men on the ground to people on the possibility of heavy flooding and what we need to do. Identify sea havens and move in there to avoid the possibility of people being affected and displaced. So, yes, we are advising the people on the possibility of heavy flooding across the capital especially.
Right, and last year when this incident happened, part of the recommendations from the experts was that there was a need for a demolition exercise along the waterways and all of that. Are you considering all of this as you engage stakeholders going forward?
I've said time without number that it's within the remit of the assembly, and so NATMO is actually not closed with the powers to demolish structures. It's the assembly that has
But most of the time we know that you work hand in hand with this assemblies.
Yes, we make the recommendations.
Precisely, and that's why I'm concerned about the recommendations that you're making. Is it the case that we need to carry out some demolition exercises along the waterways?
No. Right? Once we make the recommendations, the assembly that takes the decision. Once they take the decisions, they work with us. We move with them to point out the problematic areas, and then they carry out the order to demolish.
And looking at the assessment that you've done for the year, are you able to say if we're readying ourselves and that safety measures have been put in place to at least contain the situation if indeed we have flooding in parts of Accra?
Yeah, definitely. So we are ready for the season's possible flooding and getting families into safety and all that. I spoke about our search and rescue team being ready, operations team are on standby. When they need us, we'll be able to go immediately to assist people and help them to safety. When people are trapped with trees that are falling and all that, such things, NATMO is ready to assist on that score. Yes, we are ready.
And is there anything that the general public has to be cautious of going into this season?
Yes, definitely. Because of the weather forecast given by meteorological services, that is going to be windy, stormy, and all the thunderstorms and others, we got to be careful when we want to go out. And we should pay heed to the weather warnings and act accordingly, because these days, you and I will agree that Meteor's forecast is near perfection. And so let's abide by those forecasts. Once it's stormy and windy, trees can fell and other things. So don't move out till the rains are over, and then you can go about your duties for your safety. And our children, let's not allow them to be swimming in flood water, playing in flood waters, because we say it's swift beneath and it can pull anybody away. So let's be careful and watch our children when the rains are falling.
Okay, and George, one more thing. I know I'm taking a lot of your time, but there's the concern about the recent incident that we recorded along the coastal communities. What has become of the exercise, the deployment you made into parts of Keta and also Shama, which were ravaged by flooding earlier this week?
Yes, we've gotten people some safe havens and they are putting up. We've gotten some relief for people, especially in Shama and Sogah areas there, and we are going to make a follow-up on that score. And the people, the clarion call, interestingly, all over these three places is that we need a sea defense protection project. It's only the Shama people that have given us some assurance that before now, they were vehemently opposed to issues of relocation, but now they are ready. Once the land is ready, they are ready to relocate. But they still call for the sea defense protection project, and I believe government is taking steps on that so that all of us will bring some of relief as far as these things are concerned.
And I'm aware that you're very engaged today, but I'm grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us. That's the Director of Communications for NATMO, George Ezi, giving us some updates on today's downpour and the flooding in parts of Accra. Let's shift focus. Let's take you to the Western region now. The rebuilding process of the Apieti community in the Prestiahoni Valley municipality is taking shape. Several organizations and individuals have made cash and material donation towards the rebuilding efforts. The resident to the recent activities to help the area, and one of the recent areas to help is the Tadi Habo. My colleague Samo Brace has been following that story and comes through with more.
This was how the life of the Apiati community changed. A truck conveying explosives exploded in the middle of the community. Almost all houses in this community were wiped out, with several hundreds of people being injured in the process. 14 persons lost their lives. The country was thrown into a state of shock, and it launched an initiative to reach out to the world for help to rebuild Apiati.
Nobody is asking anyone to give what they don't have, but just the little they have. They can share it with others.
Drop.
To this end, the Takoradi Port of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, led by the Director of Port, Captain Ebenezer Afezi, have donated 2,000 bags of cement to help the rebuilding process.
Management and staff of Ghana Port and Harbours Authority will put our heads together. We felt that we should come and support the government of Ghana to put up a befitting settlement for our brothers and sisters in Apieti. So we've come here to donate 2,000 bags of cement, worth about 100,000 Ghana cedis, to support this project. We wanted to bring all the 2,000 bags at a go, but after discussions with the MC, we came to an agreement that they will not be using all at a go, so we should bring just about 400. Then as is when they are ready, they will bring a cheat, then we'll supply. So now we've got 400, left with 1,600. Anytime they are ready, we've spoken with the factory.
The MC for the Prestiahoni Valley municipality, Dr. Isaac Dasmani, said he's been overwhelmed by the love Ghanaians have shown towards the effort to rebuild the community.
Let me take the opportunity to extend my gratitude to Gapoha for at least giving us these 2,000 bags of cement. It's a great, donation. 2,000 bags of cement. They've done a lot. Yeah, and I must say that the number of cement bags that we have received from other organizations and all is overwhelming. But then we are making sure that we are putting them in good use. You've seen from the side that we are, molding blocks with us. We don't want them to go bad and all of that. So we are putting all of them together. So this morning to Kapoha has also, shown the way, for others to also follow. We want to express our gratitude to the management, the team, and the entire company for this donation.
So, little by little, we are rebuilding the lost Apiate to inspire hope that will live for each other. For Joy News, I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
And well, let's talk about politics now. The race for the presidential slot in the opposition National Democratic Congress is heating up, with former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor showing signs that he may be running for the top seat in the main opposition political party. And here you have it, one of his engagements with the Greater Accra regional members of the NDC, which he did earlier this week. But also yesterday, the Dr. Duffuor himself launched a campaign that the Ahunto Project, which he describes as an intervention, which is critical to supporting all 275 constituencies of the party and crucial to generating ideas for the party's growth. Dr. Duffuor himself has been explaining why he decided to roll out this project, and we'll just bring excerpts of that statement, which he placed on Facebook earlier this week for you, so you can understand his actions, and we'll just roll that for you right now. So you see right there, Dr. Duffuor explaining that in line with my contribution towards the party reorganization and restructuring, I will be launching, of course, the Ahunto Project, which we know. The excerpt then continues to indicate that he's launching the project, which is a micro business initiative aimed at creating a sustainable revenue base for all 275 constituencies of the National Democratic Congress. So that's the explanation Dr. Duffuor has been giving. Then he continues to say that for the capacity of our local constituencies to be fully realized, there will be a need to assess and also to take control over the constant source of revenue. Now, with the Ahunto Project, we know that the constituency leadership will run rental services for social events and invest proceeds into the local party activity. So these are excerpts, and then it continues to read. And here's one critical point Dr. Duffuor has been making as well, that the initiative actually includes the provision of some plastic canopies and also public address systems to each constituency. And then he continues to say that I'm hopeful that this will advance activities of our local party as a stable revenue generating venture, which he believes in. And he's been talking about the fact that the pilot phase of the Ahunto Project for the NDC would actually be launched at the Ashaman constituency, which it did yesterday, and the Greater Accra region, which is happening in the Greater Accra region. And that activity, we understand, happened yesterday, where Dr. Duffuor actually launched the Ahunto Project. So that's his explanation and rationale as to why the Ahunto Project has to be launched here in the Greater Accra region. But there's a need for us to have some conversation on this. Joining us now is a member, the General Secretary of the Young Professionals of the NDC, who are raising concerns that such jostlings within the political party being done without necessarily the approval of the leadership of the party could create some problems for the NDC. And joining us via Zoom now is Elikem Kotoko. He happens to be General Secretary for the Young Professionals, a group which is a pro-NDC grouping. He's joining us now. Elikem, thank you for your time. So if you can hear me, the concern now is we're beginning to see clearly that the reorganization of the NDC is taking shape. However, your group has concerns about the approach some individuals are taking within the party over this. What's your take on this, really?
Yeah, thank you so much, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners. I think I must say that sincerely, the gesture by Dr. Duffuor is commendable. I believe that as a party which is in opposition, we ought to find innovative ways of trying to sustain the vibrancy at the grassroots. And as you are well aware, the party has not opened nominations yet for anybody. Neither has the likes of even Dr. Dufour announced any intention to contest a particular position apart from speculations that we keep hearing. And so I think this is a good step in the right direction that will be worthy of emulation by others also to ensure that we strengthen our branches and our constituencies in order for them to remain very vibrant heading towards 2024.
Right. And so if you look at all of these things that are happening, what's your prediction going forward as the future of the NDC in terms of reorganization and also being mindful of that, the need to keep the ranks of the party together because there's an election coming up later in just about 2 years?
Yes. Before that, the elections in 2 years, there will be an internal election, which is more or less like an internal appraisal of even the current executive. Obviously, as happens in every human institution, some may be retained and others may also be kicked out, amongst other things. But these are gestures that, moving forward, are demonstrating that we all are working in sync because I am sure it will be a good example for other people who may also want to do the same. I am aware, I can cite, for instance, an example such as the Sogah constituency, where the youth organizer held a program there, and the aim was to raise funds to procure Prosper Acrotip, raise funds to put up, to procure canopies and chairs for rental. And same can be said of Adenta also, where the youth organizer, Eric Lomo, also procured some motorbike and a van to be used for commercial purposes. I would only entreat that the executives actually follow due process and also ensure that they keep these things in good shape and the maintenance culture in order for it to see the real benefits that it is intended for. As for when the time comes for the elections, obviously, I believe that the National Executive will open nominations soon, or a timetable will be out. When the timetable comes out, then everybody in every democratic dispensation will do the needful. If you are interested and you feel you are qualified, you will put in your bid to also contest for whichever position you deem fit yourself, which I will not hide away from telling you even on air now that I am one of those considering also going for a national position when the time comes.
I see. So which means that you're all interested in the leadership race of the NDC. But then looking at, let's talk about the specifics, the Ahunto project itself.
Yeah.
The idea is that this project is going to run with the local, the grassroots of the NDC. Do you feel that the national executive should welcome this directive and not necessarily antagonize Dr. Dufour?
I think, like you agree with me, in every human institution, there are bound to be pros and cons. I have not heard of any particular national executive that kicked against though, but then it will not be surprising. However, I am sure that many others also intend replicating same because you recall even instances where there were tidal waves that had actually affected people down south. It had to take the former president to play a role there. The people who even benefited were not having any political coloration. It was Ghanaians at large. And therefore, if other people also felt that for the sense of belongingness, that they belong to a political party known as the National Democratic Congress, which is left of center, let us begin to incentivize the base in order for them to feel that vibrancy, in order for them to be on their feet, in order for them to feel something that they can rely on for their day-to-day activities. And I think that is a very good thing. I would rather entreat many others of well-meaning members of senior citizens who have got the wherewithal to also join in doing so. It will help the base generally.
And you feel your party is ready for the 2022 elections? 2024, I should say. Yeah.
Our readiness is a process, as you would agree with me. I mean, we would not take it only that this government has been an absolute failure, apart from the fact that corruption has become another endemic pandemic within the regime. But then we will work towards that, and that is what you are seeing in motion, because if you are aware, the national executives are having some restructuring, reorganization exercises all over. Membership drives are being embarked on, and all others. And if you've seen our readiness with the level of engagement on national issues. You cannot rule out the minorities' position on matters. Ghanaians generally have come to already accept that the NDC was actually booted out wrongly because they were misled. They were told of a certain Messiah who unfortunately is actually a man.
Right. Anyway, we'll have to leave the conversation here. We'll continue definitely as the race hits up. But Elikem Kotoko, I'm grateful that you've been able to join us. So let's stay on Dr. Dufour himself, because the former governor of the central bank himself has blamed the new Patriotic Party administration for what could be best described as mismanagement, as he terms it, of the Ghanaian economy, a situation which, according to him, has brought toward hardship and could force Ghanaians to seek greener pastures elsewhere. He, however, believes that there is an opportunity to put things right by bringing the National Democratic Congress back to power in the 2024 general elections. Dr. Dufour was addressing the NDC faithful at Shaman when he launched the Ahunto project.
Former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufour, the current economic situation vindicates the NDC and puts the party in a better position to win the 2024 elections. However, he says this would not come on a silver platter, as those at the grassroots have to be financially sound to deliver the victory. Dr. Dufour, under the Ahunto project, donated some items including canopy, chairs, PA system, among other things, which will be replicated across the remaining 274 constituencies.
Now, we are going for elections in 2024. Looking at the situation we are in now, if we don't change, you and I, we may have to travel. Eh? It is not easy. But if we take this seriously, 2024, we are going to win. Every constituency will have something to fight. What are you going to war? What do we need? We are preparing for it now. We are going to fight 2024 and win and get the power so that we add something to Ahunto.
Dr. Dufour urged members of the party to have a united front to help achieve the 2024 mission, as well as winning more seats in Greater Accra.
With talking alone, you talk and spend the resources to move the party forward. But yeah, I like it. This is real reorganization. Let us make sure that Ashaman, what's happening here affects all the other constituencies in Greater Accra. You had 20. You are 34. We want to get about 30 2024. So let's see, what can we do to get 30 out of 34 so that Greater Accra will be NDC. Matino, Makado, Ehu here. Ehu here, Minuaba. Odo, STB, Bia, we are here. Now the Odo can't ajiba hua. Where we?
Meanwhile, former Trade and Industry Minister and flag bearer aspirant Dr. Kuspi Garba says the party must work towards changing the perception of being anti-business due to its past. Some past government officials and party executive were present to support Dr. Dufour.
Well, there's more on this matter. In fact, we'll hear from the Dufour camp shortly. Stay with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, the Tertiary Education Institution Network, TEIN, of the National Democratic Congress at KNUST has bemoaned the increase in the cost of education due to challenges in the Ghanaian economy. This comes after some parents complained about the increasing cost of items on the prospectus for the awards in senior high schools. President of TEIN KNUST, Theophilus Berchi, speaking at the virtual lecture, indicated that though tuition at the senior high school level is free, there are possibilities that some students may miss school due to the cost of items needed for school. The student body predicts an astronomical increase in hostel charges due to the rise in cost of living. And he further indicated that students are already burdened by the increase in food and transportation costs.
Today, the already suffering Ghanaian students who may not have money or get money as early as possible to get hostel that are a few kilometers from campus, move outside from campus to somewhere like Kote. At the end of the day, these students are the ones who suffer most when fuel prices are increased because transportation fares goes high. Early this semester, students who were coming from Kote to campus were paying a fare of 1 cedi 50 pesos. Today, we are paying 2 cedis. Those from new sites who were paying 1 cedi 50 pesos are today paying 2 cedis. Today, if you don't have 12 Ghana cedis, if you don't have 15 Ghana cedis, if you don't have 10 Ghana cedis, you can't afford any food on KNUST campus. And in these same times, our parents are not getting the money. When they get to marketplaces, things are not moving on as expected. And this is the state of every suffering Ghanaian student, every average Ghanaian student in KNUST. Surprisingly, we've not looked at the prepaid, the simple commodities that students are supposed to get on campus.
Meanwhile, Tain wants government to introduce interventions in the agricultural sector to reduce the cost of food.
The economy of this country may be on its shoulders only when the agricultural sector is on a higher rate. Today, as we are speaking, we have a lot of representations that in the year 2009, the share of employment by the agricultural sector was 51%. Today, as we are speaking, the agricultural sector is declining in its employment. This is because the prices of chemicals, the prices of land, and the price of a lot of things that are used for agriculture is moving exponentially because of this an unfriendly economy, because of these hard times. From 2009, we had about 51.3% as a number of employees or people who have been employed into the sector of agriculture. Just last 2-3 years, 2019, this has declined from 51.3% to 33.5%. This is to tell us that a lot of people are not interested in going into the agriculture sector.
Well, now let's talk tourism. The Ghana Tourism Authority says it is rolling out measures to make Ghana the hub for tourism in the world. Now, days ago, President Akufo-Addo launched one of his government's flagship projects which is targeted at putting our tourism sector in the best possible shape. Now, it's dubbed Destination Ghana. It was launched in London in the United Kingdom, and the project is obviously moving with one objective, the objective of inviting and welcoming the rest of the world to visit the country. And it's believed to be the beginning of many more campaigns to make Ghana attractive.
It is expected that some 25 million United States dollars will be expended to upgrade some of our iconic sites, including the famous Elmina and Cape Coast castles, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, the Mole and Kakun parks, and cultural museums in Yendi in the northern region, Ejiso in the Ashanti region, Akropong in the eastern region, and Ho in the Volta region, under the Ghana Tourism Development Project, supported by the World Bank. Additionally, I'm happy to note the funds will be directly injected into supporting SMEs in the hospitality and beverage sector. I'm eagerly awaiting the expedited conclusion of negotiations with the World Bank, which is intended to culminate in additional financing to boost the tourism, arts, and culture sector. It is in this regard that the government recognizes and highly commends the partnership of the World Bank in supporting Ghana's socio-economic transformational agenda. I acknowledge the efforts of the dynamic country director of the World Bank, Mr. Pierre Laporte, in the Tourism Development Project, an initiative jointly implemented by the government of Ghana and the World Bank. This $40 million project is expected to position the tourism and hospitality sectors as key drivers of social and economic development. I want to invite you here in London and Britain, Europe, and the rest of the world to the center of the world, where longitude 0 degrees crosses latitude 0 degrees, where the bright sunshine enriches the quality of the skin and bodies of all, where music, dance, and culture not only create fun, but also excite the body, soul, and mind for spiritual growth. Indeed, I welcome you to Ghana, the center of the world, to enjoy our famed hospitality and take advantage of our favorable investment climate.
Well, so here on The Pulse, we're asking that question. What does Ghana have to offer the world? I guess that's a legitimate question, and one person to help us answer that is Emmanuel Frimpong, Executive Secretary for the Ghana Tourism Federation. It's such a good time to be seeing you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Destination Ghana, let's talk about that first. How excited are you about that project, and what will that project do, not just for the Ghanaian economy, but also sending a message to the world that there's a country here in West Africa that has a lot in terms of the tourism potential?
Thank you very much. Very good evening to your cherished viewers. If you look at Ghana, the position of Ghana alone, Ghana is the center of the world. That alone is an attraction in itself. Right. And if you look at our heritage, culture, our warmth, and our food, that is gastronomy, and you look at even sports, you realize that Ghana has a lot to offer the world. Unfortunately, we have been able to market ourselves very well. So a lot of people don't know about Ghana. And if you look at the year of return, 2019, when we invited the world to come to Ghana, the number of people that came within that short period will tell you that if Ghana is to market itself very well, we have the potential to attract a lot of people into the country. So that is what the government is doing. Right. And the president this week, I think on Tuesday, in the UK, launched Destination Ghana. So we are going to have series of that. We have about 10 countries that we plan to do that.
Oh, so this is like a big package. So Destination Ghana is not just targeting, for instance, the United Kingdom and parts of Europe, and that's it?
Not at all, because we have some African countries like Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire as part of it, because we looked at the 10 major destination markets for Ghana. And UK happened to be one of them, Nigeria is another, and we have Cote d'Ivoire. So we have series of countries that will be doing that, and by extension we also take it beyond those.
Okay, so tell us about the measures being rolled out by your federation in furtherance to that grand launch and opening that we've seen by the president. Many say, often when we hear about it, Destination Ghana and other tourism interventions, it ends somewhere. We don't make much out of these campaigns. How different will this project be this time around?
Okay, so if you look at this one, we started last year. We brought some stakeholders, about 50, were housed in a hotel for, I think, about 2-3 days to look at how do we market Ghana. So we were able to put some ideas together, and then what we saw in UK is as a result of that meeting. So there's a proper way of trying to do the Destination Ghana, and we are hoping, even though we put that on paper, as you mentioned, sometimes we put the policies on paper and we are not able to walk through it. But we want to believe that since the president has taken that initiative, like he did with the year of return, we will have the resources, we will have the human resource, and then even the financial resources to actually do what we put on paper.
I guess the concern should not just be about, yes, putting out the campaign, but also ensuring that there's capacity. We have our system in place here within the country to maximize the potentials and the benefits that will come to us. Are we there yet in terms of the storage sites, putting them in shape and making sure that we are able to market them?
Okay, so the president talked about some 25 million cedis that have been set aside for capacity building. Okay. And then he talked about some 40 million as well. That is also site development. So last year, you probably might be aware that Manshia Palace was closed down for renovation. Abri Gardens is been given to a contractor. They are working on it. If you go to Paga, I think it's been also given to a contractor. Some Tafia Tommy, last year we went there. They've been given some facelift. There are places that some renovation is taking place. Right. So those are the things that we are doing. Besides that, there's also Ghana Obatampa Care project, which is supposed to do training and capacity building. We've started, but we want to encourage the government, by extension GTA, to actually get the right people that need a training so that we can build our capacity when people come and give them the best of our services.
So what you mean to say now is we're not ready? Indirectly, that's what you're telling us.
I wouldn't say we are not ready. I don't think one can be absolutely ready. Right. It's a process. You start from somewhere. Okay. The training has begun. I know last year they started a training. This year they are doing the training. The renovations, I mentioned a few places, is ongoing. I know Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is also the next one that will take, they will start the renovation. Cape Coast Castle and a few other places. Just yesterday, they finished the museum. I think the contractor has handed over the keys to the government. Right. So very soon we will see the Ghana Museum open. Right. So yes, it's an ongoing. We don't say we are not ready. Yes.
But I mean, I must admit the fact that Ghana gained a lot of foreign exchange when we ran the the year of the return, and we started rolling out the Beyond the Return initiative. I mean, these are all projects that brought in some amount of money. Do we know how much we're targeting out of this new Destination Ghana project, and whether or not we'll be able to realize the target?
Okay, so Destination Ghana is an ongoing project. So what we did after the year of return was to have Beyond the Return, which is a 10-year development agenda. So we have it in phases. So we don't have a specific amount that we want to target, that this is how much we want to receive. But the minister mentioned an amount, I think it was 5 billion cedis that we want to rake in this year. I don't know where we are at the moment, but I want to believe we are getting somewhere. But with the Destination Ghana, I'm not aware of any figure that we've been put that we want to achieve.
And when we often talk about tourism, the concern is that, oh, let's just invite those who are out there to visit Ghana. How about domestic tourism as well? The need to also encourage Ghanaians, because if Ghana is going to be, I mean, the story of Ghana is going to be told out there, right. Ghanaians themselves must first of all buy that story. So where are we on that campaign, and how well are we doing with that as well?
I think we are doing quite well, especially from last year when we realized that COVID exposed us that we've been dependent on international arrivals for far too long, and it's not sustainable. So from last year, we started domestic tourism campaign, which actually the president also again talked about it. So from there, we had a series of meetings with our trade associations, the hotels, the tour operators, tour guides, car rentals. We all met and they all decided that, look, let's try to reduce our rates so that we can get a lot more Ghanaians traveling around, promoting domestic tourism, which has been an ongoing promotion. So I know even the media, recently, some of you and your other friends went to Volta region and other places to promote domestic tourism, which is really good.
So will you be rolling out some measures in that regard, just to push that drive domestically?
Yes. Next week is Kwewu.
Wonderful.
Yes.
We're all looking forward to that.
And this year is different.
Okay.
It's different in the sense that this year they've involved a lot of stakeholders. In the past, we've heard of some negative attachment to Kwewu. And this year, what they've done is they've engaged a lot of stakeholders and brought in the police, the security agencies to come in to see how best we can make it more lively, get people to come and go without any negative incidences. So, and then around the same time, there's also an event that is going on in the central region, promoting domestic tourism in the central region. There's also one going on in the Hohoi. So a lot of events are going on within this period, which all geared towards promoting domestic tourism. So yes,
we'll be on the lookout for that. We'll see how that one will go, because obviously we also need to state that this conversation we're having here goes beyond our borders as well. There are so many people watching us out there who are wondering, what's that selling point for Ghana? Why should I be in Ghana? Why should I visit all these story sites that you're talking about?
What we are doing is we are not even focusing on the tourist attraction sites.
Right, necessarily.
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at our food, if you meet anybody who has visited Ghana and you ask what are the things that you
features,
yes,
right,
they will first talk about our food. Our food is unique. So one of the things that we are doing is promoting gastronomy, which has to do with our food and culture. We have our culture is there, unique culture. We have our heritage. We have, even when you talk about medical tourism, which is an area that we haven't really focused on. If you look at the West Africa sub-region and you talk about medical tourism, Ghana stands tall. But we haven't promoted medical tourism. It's one of the things that we are also doing. So there's a lot that we can actually tell people who want to come to Ghana.
Impressive. And the contribution to the economy. Everybody wants to benefit from that. Yeah. I mean, diversifying the whole tourism sector and making it much more lucrative, not just for those who are industry players, but even out of the industry itself. Is there any tangible benefits that we're getting from Ghana's tourism sector? Because very often that conversation comes up, and the belief is it's only the likes of the hoteliers and those who manage the tourist sites that are benefiting from the sector. Is that true?
That's not true. That's not true. If you look at tourism has linkages with almost everything. Because if you go to the hotels, restaurants, if you go to attraction sites, wherever there's food, you should know that tourism has a role to play. If you look at transportation, you look at those who are doing these kind of things, beads and fashion designers, all of them are part of the tourism linkages. So there's a lot that tourism is giving out. Unfortunately, there's something we call tourism satellite account, which is supposed to give us the real contribution of tourism. We don't have that yet. Okay. So it makes it extremely difficult for you to actually say that this is the contribution of tourism. Other than that, I am convinced that tourism probably might be number 2 in terms of the contribution to GDP. Wow. I am telling you.
You believe there's so much more money in that sector? Is that, do we, and how much priority at this point should we be placing on that, particularly when we know that this is a country that's moving out of the, effects of COVID-19, and you are now trying to attract more and more people into our economy. Do you feel that, given this situation in which we are now, this is the right time to be placing priority on tourism? Is this the time?
This is the time. We should have done it yesterday.
Are we able to go ahead with that, particularly when we know there are restrictions all across the world? Some countries are now easing that, and you agree it may be a challenge for our industry?
I don't think it is a challenge. I say that we need to position ourselves. We should have done that yesterday. We didn't, but it's not too late. We can do it today. We need to be intentional about promoting tourism. Okay. And fortunately for us, Ghana has it all. We have it all. If you want to talk about Ghana as a center of the world, if this has happened to any other country in the world, they will just focus on it, center of the world, build monuments around it, make noise about it. You come and see the center of the world, and everybody wants to be at the center of the world. That alone can attract a lot of revenue for us. So we need to be intentional about promoting tourism, and we need to also make resources available for that. And I believe if we can focus on tourism, Ghana does not have a problem.
I don't intend to compare and contrast necessarily, so I don't offend the countries that may be involved. But if you look at the Middle East, and for instance, I mean, what's happening in the likes of Dubai as well, it's become a tourist destination. Many people are going in there, particularly because of the infrastructure, right? I mean, it's up there, you agree with me. Why is Ghana not able to leverage on the tourist destinations that we have and then create a proper infrastructure so we are able to benefit from it?
I think it has to do with commitment. That is one. And again, I think we also have too many things that we can, in terms of tourism, we have too many things. So we are not able to focus on a few and actually promote it. So we are always touching on almost everything.
So you mean the sites are competing with each other?
Yes. So as every country, you need to have one or two things that you want to focus on. The others will be things that will attract people.
But I mean, other countries are doing quite well. They equally don't have just one place when you visit and that's the end of it. They have a number of places to take you to. And yet all of these centers are not necessarily competing with each other. So why should that be the case in Ghana?
Ours is not about competition.
Right, okay.
But if you are going to Dubai, there's one thing that you have in mind. Others are just...
the ancillaries that you want to...
So, but if somebody is visiting Ghana, the question is, what exactly is the person coming for?
Okay.
So we need to have that. And then the other ones will be the attractions that, okay, after doing this, I want to do that. Even nightlife in Ghana, it's beautiful. If you have gone out in the evening, you can go to several places to just go around and see what is going on, like nightlife alone. People, I know a group that is coming in November. They are coming to Ghana just for nightlife. Last year, a group from Rwanda came here, and nightlife in Ghana was what really attracted them. So we have so much that we probably are not focusing what we want to do. But if we can pick a few of them, focus on it, get people to come, and then we expand.
Okay, so let's wrap up by talking about the way forward. What's the future, first of all, looking like for Ghana's tourism sector, and what should we be on the lookout for, pay attention to, reform or restructure in order to achieve the future that we want?
The future looks great for Ghana in terms of tourism. Future looks great. And it's good that the president also is passionate about tourism. And every major decision that we want to make in terms of promoting tourism, we always see the president taking the initiative. So tourism looks great. What we need to do, one, is to look at the people that work in our hotels, our attraction site, train them. Because all these years, we have always seen tourism as something for people that are traveling from different countries to join us. But we have to begin to see tourism as a business. So when we see tourism as a business, then those who go to schools and doing anything tourism, they see it as when I finish university or anything that has to do with tourism, I'll have a job. What we also need to do is to look at our infrastructures. Infrastructures are very important. So refurbishing our infrastructures and also looking at the ones that we need to start developing all over again. We have to also look at our hotels. I don't know of any hotel in Ghana that can take about more than 1,500 at a sitting. I know Rock City is working. That should take about 2,000 plus. But if we are doing mines is meetings, incentives, conferences, and events, which is a big project in the world now. So if Ghana can focus on mines, is also another thing. But if we have to focus on mines, then we should have centers that can accommodate such meetings. So these are things that we need to start doing. And if we are able to do those things, also we need to attract investment. We should be able to give some tax rebate for the tourism sector. If you are bringing a car, we have to start getting some of these forest range cars to come in and then get other things, our road network, all these things we have to start working on the infrastructure, and we are good to go.
Well, Emmanuel, here's the interesting thing. We've been asking those on social media as well as to what they think about President Akufo-Addo's recent project, Destination Ghana, and there you have it on your screens. President Akufo-Addo has launched one of his government's flagship projects in our tourism sector, dubbed Destination Ghana in London, United Kingdom. And the question we are asking is, can Ghana become a global tourism hub following the launch of Destination Ghana campaign? And there you have it, the verdict is out there. A minority of 41.5% say yes, and those in the majority say no, 58.5%. I don't know what's accounting for that, but Emmanuel, what do you think about this poll? What do you think is that reason accounting for that perception, the feel and the belief of the average Ghanaian out there that we're not making much out of our tourism sector?
Again, it has to do with perception, and a lot of people don't understand tourism. Yeah. In Ghana, when we talk about tourism, people think that others coming here to visit. So yes, and people also didn't understand what exactly this Destination Ghana is all about. That, yeah. Yes, so as we are doing this and we continue to do it, people get to know what exactly it is. Because I know some of the people, even in the tourism industry, don't really understand what is going on. They were not aware of what.
Okay, so it appears that we don't have much education on this. So this is the time to scale it up, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Well, we need to go, but if someone is watching now, how can they contribute to realizing this whole vision of transforming Ghana's tourism sector? The belief is, well, the individual out there can't do much. Is that a good perception to carry out?
It's not. We all come from some places where you have one or two attraction sites or places where people can visit. Right. So I think what we all need to do is to begin to conscientize ourselves that tourism is not about somebody else, it's about all of us. Let's have this mindset that every year at least you have some few days on a holiday, visit a place. Even in Accra here, I was asking somebody if they knew there's waterfall in Dodo. I said no. And probably you
I don't know that. I mean, for a fact, I don't know that.
So there's a waterfall just around us. That if you go to Dodo.
And what's the name of the place again?
Dodowa.
Yes. No, I mean where the place is, where the waterfall is.
Okay, so they call it.
But we'll try and get the name.
Yes. So there's this the forest, the Dodowa also forest has extremely important history behind it. So just behind us, if you go to, I'm sure a lot of people, just Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, people have not even been there. So what we need to do is to begin to showcase and also appreciate the fact that tourism is not for somebody, it's for all of us. Let's make that effort to visit around. Let's go beyond our region to other regions to see what they have. And I believe if we do that, we will get to appreciate tourism.
Well, Emmanuel, I'm sure we'll have this conversation again. Emmanuel Frimpong is the Executive Secretary for the Ghana Tourism Federation. This is The Pulse. We'll return shortly. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, kidney diseases among young people are on the increase. At least that's the situation at the Bank Hospital, where a new renal unit has been set up to deal with the problem. Officials attribute the worrying trend to over-reliance on aphrodisiacs. Listen to Dr. Charlotte Osafo, a senior staffer at the hospital.
Prevention is key, and prevention is something, as I've told you, I've worked with kidney patients for a very long time, and it's always very painful, and difficult when you see young people. In our environment, it's usually the young people who get affected with kidney problems. Unlike the developed countries where people get to like 60 years before they start getting those problems, it's usually between 20 to 50 years and people get those kidney issues. So for me, my advice would be that it's important that one, we check. We need to be checking. And how do you check? It's very simple, very, very simple. One, check your blood pressure. Yeah. Make sure you are checking your blood pressure regularly. It's very, very important. Two, every year, at least for once, check your urine. It's nothing difficult. It's just urine. You are throwing it away. Just take it there. Let them just put a stick inside and they will tell you whether there's protein. You are not supposed to have proteins in your urine. So when they just put a stick there, they will tell you, you have protein, and they can easily deal with it and get rid of it. But if you don't check, you will not know. And for the young men, I have advice for you. Those aphrodisiacs that you take, you don't know what. Yes, you want to perform, but usually if you eat well, you exercise well, you should be able to perform, wonderfully. Exactly. Yes. So please avoid the aphrodisiacs. Try and stay away from them.
They shouldn't kill themselves.
No, they don't have to. They should just make sure they eat well, they exercise, and then I believe that everything should be fine.
National Security Minister Albert Kandapa is warning that the perception that the judiciary is biased has dire consequences on the national security of the country. In recent months, the opposition National Democratic Congress in particular have accused the judiciary of being biased against it after losing a string of cases actually before the courts. Now speaking during a sensitization workshop on the national security strategy for judges of the Superior Courts, Kandapa said when the bench is deemed to be biased, citizens will continue to take the law into their own hands for personal satisfaction.
Injustice occasioned as a result of the absence of an effective justice delivery system, or delayed justice, or biased justice, is certainly a threat to national security. And indeed, when injustice abounds, particularly in situations where the bench, which is considered as the final arbiter of disputes, is deemed to be biased, citizens tend to take the law into their own hands, most times without recourse to the established systems of justice delivery. And similarly, the failure of the criminal justice system to ensure effective and expeditious trial of criminals adversely impact the morale of law enforcement agencies. It also emboldens criminals to perpetrate more crime and breeds lawlessness among the citizenry, developments which threaten the internal security of the state. If you are going to be able to address the security challenges that we have, especially the domestic ones, we need to be able to ensure that there is a judicial system that works. If we do not have a system, a judicial system that works, many people will simply take the laws into their own hands and misbehave and do what they want. Therefore, in trying to manage the security situation, it is important for us that we do get a judicial system that works. And we are all lucky that in the sub-region, we are perceived as a country where the judicial system works and where you could expect justice. If the interpretation of the law is tilted so much in our favor all the time, people will start accusing the judiciary and will not have the confidence that they need.
And now Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah also pledged the support of the judiciary in ensuring that the national security strategy of the country is implemented, and said judges will continue to implement the law fairly.
In the evolving global situation, where threats are manifold and diverse, this is a critical intervention that will make all of us sleep a little better at night. I wish to take this opportunity to once again commend the Minister and the leadership of the National Security Ministry for their vision and patriotism in making this possible. Of course, the Ministry alone cannot be entirely responsible for the implementation of this document. An integrated policy requires an integrated approach. In the light of this, the Ministry is today seeking to engage the judiciary as necessary partners for the successful implementation of the policy. As the guardians of law and justice in our country, I believe this is the only right, and it is only right and proper that we are fully engaged in this process. Indeed, the Ministry has previously engaged the Judicial Council and today represents another step in this journey of continuous engagement in the collective service of our motherland. Mr. Minister, I assure you, the judiciary will play its role as imposed on us by the Constitution. Colleagues, I do not think that I need to remind you of the critical role we play in the national security infrastructure. While the threats are in a state of constant evolution, one thing remains constant, and that is the fact that the law is one of the major tools that we have to use to combat them. The decisions that are taken by national security officials must be done in the light of what is lawful, and where there are conflicts between the rights of individuals and the security of the state, it is the court rule that those tensions will be resolved. This is why this interaction is absolutely essential. I wish to urge you, therefore, to commit to this process wholeheartedly and to engage frankly and enthusiastically with the officials from the national security. I wish to assure the Minister and his team that we recognize that our partnership is of key significance to our collective survival, and we will work very closely with them to ensure the success of this new integrated national security strategy.
Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government has the capacity to fix the challenges facing the economy in less than 3 years. After they've left office now, Mr. Ofori-Atta last month actually announced a raft of austerity measures geared at stemming the tide in what economists want could be the collapse of the Ghanaian economy. Speaking at the National Youth Authority breakfast meeting of youth agencies, Mr. Ofori-Atta assured things will change soon.
We own this land. This is being left for the emancipation of the whole black race. And so we have to dare to do. We have to be uppity. We have to be clear of who we are. We can't give up. We persevere. We move, you know, and that's it. And because I have gone through that, and therefore I know, you know, I went through sixth form in Achimota. I was just so giddy and happy that I completely failed my A-levels. And my dad said, well, really? So why don't you drive me around? That's all, because as far as he was concerned, you had the capacity and you had messed up. So I drove Dad around for a while, but then he was the parliamentarian for Begro at that time. That's Fantiako, which is now been 2. And so then what happens? So for about a year, whilst I'm trying to do my A-levels again, teaching at Accra Academy, math, and then sitting in the balcony of Parliament, just listening and seeing these politicians, not knowing that I was going to need it. So the first time that I was reading the budget, I'm like, wow. And so the Lord had moved this chess piece ages ago. There was Dad sitting in the balcony, and there was me there, and he had also been Deputy Minister of Finance, you know, in the Second Republic. And you can see the plans the Lord have for you, but if you don't, you know, realize the moment, sons of Issachar, read the moment, put your passion into it, you will still be pedestrian, thinking you need this help, you do that, but your spirit and passion is not in it, you know. So when we grab a government that seems to want to push this thing, let's take these 3 years that are left, which is Jesus' 3 years, 30 to 33, clearly focusing on the road to Jerusalem. And what is our Jerusalem? A freed entrepreneurial society in which the structures are there to support you. And even if they are not, what is it that is in you that you can do to ensure that you realize your potential?
The Finance Minister, meanwhile, says the completion of the National Cathedral project will unlock additional funds for the nation.
Even beyond that, your president recognizes the need for us to be a spiritual center, to uphold our values, and thus the investment in the National Cathedral, which has been controversial for some people. And I tell myself, you do not know the blessings that can happen. But even being very finance minister, I'm looking and saying, okay, there are 650 million Christians in Africa. Likely they can afford to go to Israel. So therefore, if our cathedral becomes the center of the pilgrimage, and usually when people come in, before they leave, they would have thrown down some $2,000 to $3,000. So imagine 10% of these people coming through each year. That's just phenomenal. Then you look at the whole diasporan concept and how do you pull them into this place to become their homeland and also participate in that. That's about 143 million people. So you are beginning then to see these 3 pillars of what we are as a country, and optimization of Ghana as the platform, for spirituality, for investment, for trade, etc. It's limitless what we can do, and therefore sort of negative language, etc. You have to look beyond that. It's not about politics. And that's reading and understanding where we came from, where there's a certain limitlessness to what we can do, and what Nkrumahs and J.B. Danquers at their youthful age thought we should be as a people. And that is really the energy and spirit in which we should approach this. So I look at myself as finance minister, and I'm very clear on what the president is more clear on, the vision of what we do with our human capital beyond all measure.
Well, so here on the Pulse, don't forget that earlier we raised the conversation about how aphrodisiacs are having impact on young people across the country. In fact, there's a concern that the situation is getting out of hand. Take a listen to this.
Prevention is key, and prevention is something, as I've told you, I've worked with kidney patients for a very long time, and it's always very painful, and difficult when you see young people. In our environment, it's usually the young people who get affected with kidney problems. Unlike the developed countries where people get to like 60 years before they start getting those problems, it's usually between 20 to 50 years and people get those kidney issues. So for me, my advice would be that it's important that one, we check. We need to be checking. And how do you check? It's very simple, very, very simple. One, check your blood pressure. Yeah. Make sure you are checking your blood pressure regularly. It's very, very important. Two, every year, at least for once, check your urine. It's nothing difficult. It's just urine. You are throwing it away. Just take it there. Let them just put a stick inside, and they will tell you whether there's protein. You are not supposed to have proteins in your urine. So when they just put a stick there, they will tell you, you have protein, and they can easily deal with it and get rid of it. But if you don't check, you will not know. And for the young men, I have advice for you. Those aphrodisiacs that you take, you don't know what. Yes, you want to perform, but usually if you eat well, you exercise well, you should be able to perform, wonderfully. Exactly. Yes. So please avoid the aphrodisiac. Try and stay away from them.
They shouldn't kill themselves.
No, they don't have to. They should just make sure they eat well, they exercise, and then I believe that everything should be fine.
Well, so that's why on the polls we're asking this question. So why are young people, especially men, relying on aphrodisiacs to perform sexually? There are two schools of thought on this matter. In fact, there are divided opinions actually. Are the women actually demanding too much, or the men simply want to impress? This afternoon on the polls, we're having a conversation on this. Joining us via Zoom right now are two individuals, young persons as well, who share their opinion on this. But first, let's speak to Nketia Mensah, who is a young person as well, but surprisingly, he is pro-aphrodisiac, if I should call him that way. Nketia, welcome to the program. So you believe that there's a need for reliance on the sex boosters. Why are you pro-aphrodisiac anyway?
Well, unfortunately, that is the situation we find ourselves in. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. As I said, unfortunately, it is not anyone's doing. I think it's a change of human system because of the kind of food that we eat. So, yes, I heard the...
If you can hear me, you'd have to reposition yourself. We're having some challenges with your connection, but you're trying to make a very interesting point there about the situation in which we find ourselves. We'll explore that further as we rework the lines with Nketia. But Nketia, if you can hear me, okay. Yeah. Nketia, just you were making a point earlier. Just complete that for me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if
you can your line.
So my point is that.
Yeah, right.
Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yes, that's better now.
Okay, sure. I'm saying that it is good you eat well, you can perform, or when you exercise well, you can perform. But the issue is the food that we are eating is not helping us to perform. So therefore, one would have to at least get something to, supplement this situation. Clearly, but my advocacy for aphrodisiac isn't the quick fixed one. Yeah. So even though I'm pro, but I have my specifications, not those that would give you that instant results. No, no. I have my preferred aphrodisiac medicine that I recommend people should go by if you think you will have a problem. I don't see why you don't need such a solution to solve your problem, because if whatever disease that one is facing, you have to get the medicine to cure it. And I see it as a disease if you are unable to perform sexually. But the point is, what medicine are you taking? It is just like any other disease or any other problem that we face. You may be able to get a solution, but how are you going to get a solution? Usually that is where the problem comes. So if you're able to get good medicine, I don't see why when one is having a problem.
But here's the situation where you have health experts explaining that it's having an impact on the youthful population of the country. You're not alarmed over this?
Well, that's why I'm saying that, yes, I am alarmed, but you ask yourself, what medicine are they taking? Do you get it?
Yeah, I should be asking you that question. What medicine are you taking?
Yeah. Well, I think that one will be more personal. Yes.
Oh, I mean, but you are
we are discussing it in the general term.
Okay, right. All right.
We are discussing the general term, not
right.
The individual level.
That's fair enough.
Good. Yeah. So my point is, I always advocate for herbal medicine. Yes, because it has a proven record that it works. At least if you're able to get a good one, it's problem free.
And precisely that's where the challenge is, identifying the very good one, particularly when we know that herbal medicines are regulated in this country as well, and there's a need to get the right medication. So that could also be a situation which could create problems for the youth. Don't you believe so?
Yes, but that's why I'm saying that. You see, it's just like any other disease that I mean, we all suffer from. When you get that disease and you don't get proper medication, it will give you another problem. Yes, so I think I look at it from that angle, not necessarily condemning aphrodisiac, but rather we should campaign for proper method, how we should go about it, but not to say it is wrong. So if it is wrong, if I have a problem, what should I do? Don't I have to cure it? I have to cure it.
Okay.
So I believe it should be getting the proper medication, and that should be the way forward, not necessarily condemning it.
Nketia, just hold on for us. Yeah, just hold on for us briefly. Let's also hear divergent opinions out there. I mean, what do you think about this? The concern on the use of aphrodisiacs as well. The phone lines are active now, 0302-211-691. It's the phone line for you to call to also share your views with us, just as we have Nketia also sharing his views. So it's 0302-211-691, or you can call 692. It will also come right here on the pulse. Let's also take your views on that as well. So you will have the numbers on your screen right now, just as you have it for you to also share your views. But Nketia, just as the point you're making about going herbal, how about completely going off the use of aphrodisiacs, particularly when we know that it could damage your kidney as well?
Well, you see, I don't know how you are saying we should do away with it. So when one has a problem, what should a person do?
I guess the aspects will help you out, isn't it?
No, but the experts always recommend medications. Is that not so? The medical expert, what do? They recommend, oh, take this, do this, do this. It's a remedy. It's a therapy. I mean, to getting a cure to that problem. So if that problem is there and you don't get the proper medication to solve it, who do you blame? It's just like any other disease. It's just like any other, if you don't treat it, it becomes chronic.
Right. Hold on.
And if you get the proper disease, a proper medicine, you get cure and you'll be free.
Okay. Hold on. Joseph from Cape Coast is joining us. Joseph, let me hear you.
Oh?
Yes, Joseph, go ahead. Yes, Joseph, I can hear you.
Yes, I also believe that when you have an issue of impotence, you need to take medication. And all of us know that many believe that using the orthodox medicine, sometimes they will give you some effect. These herbal products are proven to be very effective, proven to be safe. So I don't see the reason why, if I'm not performing, I shouldn't take the herbal one. I'm not talking about the orthodox one. For those ones, I don't subscribe to them. But if it is an herbal, I want to go for them.
Why do you feel herbal is the solution?
Come again?
Why do you feel going herbal is the solution?
Why do I think going herbal is the solution?
Yeah.
Yes, but all of us, studies have shown that using these orthodox products have issues. You have some, side effects and whatever. But these for herbal is a plant, is a food that we eat, the same like the food that we eat that give us the solution. So for me, I choose for herbal rather than going for this. So there's no problem using that one.
Right, then.
Provided it is the right thing you want.
Okay, then. Let's speak to Sebastian from Spintex. Sebastian, let's hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Let's hear your thoughts on this.
To me, it's so appalling that it's the young ones using aphrodisiacs these days. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I said, it's so appalling that it's the young ones using aphrodisiacs these days. And it's so bad. Like me, I don't subscribe to it. Like me now, I'm 53 years old now, but I've never used an aphrodisiac once. But I still perform. And besides that, is it a competition? what is the essence of this performance? Because most of these young ones that do use it, maybe for them to perform, about 85% of them are gigolos. They want to impress their sugar mommy. So that is the reason why they do use this at this time.
Okay, you feel that sugar mummies are the reason for which we're having this?
Yes, that is why the young ones using it. Because they want to impress them. So I don't subscribe to it. And just like what the...
Okay, Sebastian, thank you for calling us. Sahid is joining us from Sogah. Sahid?
Yes, please.
Yes, your points.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, the issue and the discussion is very important one. Sometimes the problem is not much the need for education, but sometimes it's about lifestyle. So changing your lifestyle a bit could help you out. You don't need serious medication. So it is for one to identify his own lifestyle, get people to talk to them. You can help yourself. For instance, if you don't have erection, it's a different thing than if you have erection that will not last for long. So you don't treat all of them as the same. If you don't eat well, my woman said, like, if you don't take enough water, you will not have the best of erection. So it's the best thing for you to know, eat well,
right.
Eat seafood, so that you can relax, take enough water, especially when you want to engage in sex.
Right then.
Just walk out and say, what you are getting ready and you are sometimes you don't move back. Have enough rest. If there is any problem, I think you can solve it.
Okay. Sahid, thank you for joining us all the way from Sogah. Let's now hear from Kendi from Dakuman. Kendi, let's hear your points then.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. My name is Kendi. I'm calling from. I think that's exactly what the woman said. You should eat well, you should stay and eat proper food. That's all. People, they don't know that when we eat well, when we eat your natural food, you'll be able to perform well. See, the carbonated food that we've been eating, that's having the cause of all this. Okay, when we eat food that has been processed in excess, you're going to be weak. Okay, so the natural food that we eat, I mean, the Ghanaian food, the African food, the traditional food that you're supposed to eat. Okay, when we eat this kind of food, naturally, you are taking the herbal medicine that these people are claiming that they think is very good than the orthodox medicine. Naturally, when we eat naturally, definitely, it's to perform. Exactly. You don't have to wait to get the product before you consult a herbal medicine. The food that we eat, it contains some kind of remedies, natural remedies in it. Exactly.
Okay, so it's about lifestyle and the choice of food that you're going for. Kendi, thank you for joining us from Dakuman. So we need to wrap up on this conversation. Nketia is still with us. Nketia, I'm just curious to know, how long are you able to last when you going for your herbal, your so-called herbal aphrodisiac?
You are still trying to
no,
make it personal.
no. At least I just want you to share a personal experience so many can learn from that, right? Because you're a pro aphrodisiac, right?
Generally, of course, herbal one, you have to be.
Yeah, so give us an idea of how long it helps you.
That. Yeah, that one, I will leave that answer for another day. I mean, when it comes to that personal level, as you are trying to let me do. But generally,
is it more than an hour? It helps you for an hour, 30 minutes. Just give us an idea.
That's why I'm saying that one we will discuss that one another day. But today, let's.
Are you running away from the conversation? Are you running away from the conversation?
I'm not. I am not running away from the conversation. I'm giving you good answers for your questions. I'm saying that I'm saying that answer will come next time when we have that
but that may be a very long time. So since we're having it now, an hour, 30 minutes, and what's the difference when you are without the aphrodisiac? What happens?
Well, I believe that if any man who has a problem with performance, I don't see why you should pretend to be okay.
Yes, you've made that point to me. Yes, you've made that point to me. So that's why I'm trying to compare and contrast. So with or without the aphrodisiac, what's the experience like for you in terms of duration?
If you were listening to the callers very well, most of them were saying that good eating habit.
Yeah, that's very true. You've also made that point. So this is a personal experience. With and without the aphrodisiac, what's the experience like for you?
Honestly, I am not in a position to provide that specific answer for now. But But what I know is that it's good, and everybody who would have a problem getting the job done the way it's supposed to be done, I shouldn't hesitate in getting a remedy elsewhere. I think herbal is the way to go. And even the food that we eat, if you're able to eat raw food, it's also a medicine on its own. Yes, it's also a medicine on its own. But unfortunately, because of the nature of today's world, sometimes it's difficult getting those proper natural food to eat. And if you are unable to do that, I don't see why you shouldn't get any good herbal medicine that will help you.
Yeah, so Nketia, we need to go because we don't have much time. So one more time, I'm giving you the opportunity, self-assessment, personal experience for many people out there to learn from. How long are you able to last if you use the aphrodisiac?
Well, I will still insist that answer will come the next day that we have a discussion, which entails personal experience.
Maybe we'll have a conversation after here, but I'm certain that you don't want to disclose that and scare a lot of women, but I'm grateful that you have been able to join us. That's Nketia. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Pulse. But in fact, some medical experts are raising concerns about the use of aphrodisiac. So before you go in for the medication, make sure that you consult your doctor or your personal, physician or whatever it is. This is The Pulse. When we return, we'll talk sports. Stay with us.